Hello students and welcome back for the geography class. Today's topic for this video session is representations of the relief features on the topo sheets. As we have already discussed about the topographical maps are the large scaled maps that show both natural features such as mountains, hills, rivers, lakes, plateaus, cliffs, and human made features such as roads, railway, tracks, and well. As all of us know that the earth's surface is not uniform and it varies from mountains to hills to plateaus and plains. The elevation and depressions of the earth's surface are known as physical features or relief features of the earth. The maps showing these features is called a relief map. So here in this slide you can see various landforms, and all landforms on the surface of the earth have different elevation and different depressions. Let's know more about the contour lines. There are different methods which are used to show the relief features of the earth's surface on maps over the years. These methods include hatchers, hill shading, which you can see over here in the slides, layer tints, benchmarks, and spot heights, and contours, obviously. However, contours and spot heights are predominantly used to depict the relief of an area on all topographical maps. As I told you that there are several methods which are used to depict the physical features on the topo sheet. Using contour, that is the most common method of showing relief or elevation on topo sheets. A contour line that is defined as it is an imaginary line that connects all points having the same height above sea mean level. And that is the reason these topo sheets, they are also called as contour map, topo sheet, or survey sheet. There are certain features of the contour lines depicted on the topo map which we should understand. For example, contour interval. On a topo sheet, there are several such lines with specific numbers that indicate the height of all the places connected by these lines. The numerical value, you can see over here, the numerical value of a contour line is different from the one above or below it. The difference in height between two adjacent contour line is known as the contour interval. It is usually constant on the map. The next feature of the contour lines, that is horizontal equivalent, which is also called as H.E, that is a short form or abbreviation for it. The horizontal equivalent is calculated with the help of the scale of the map. The value of the equivalent, that is less when the slope is steep and more when the slope is gentle. Again, I am repeating that the horizontal distance between any two consecutive contours is known as horizontal equivalent, and it is not constant. It varies from point to point depending upon the steepness of the ground. Steeper the ground, lesser the horizontal equivalent. Let's know more basic characteristics of the contour lines. As I told you in the beginning that contour lines are always measured in meters. Always drawn at fixed vertical intervals, that is the distance between two contour lines, that is 20 meter. They are always depending on the scale of a map and the range of the elevation of the area of the map. If you see that elevation is increasing towards the summit of the landform. Contour lines do not intersect one another. If you see in the slides, you will find that they are not intersecting anywhere. They are not crossing each other. They could meet. If you see that they are meeting to each other, that is a single particular contour line. They are meeting to each other, but they don't cross to each other. Every fifth line on the topo map, which is bold or which is drawn little thick, that is known as the contour index. If you see, it is clearly shown over here, that is known as the contour index. The spacing, if you find the spacing between any two contour lines, that determines the nature of the slope, that we will see in the next slide. The another feature of the contour lines, as I told you in the previous slide, that the spacing between two contour line, that determines the nature of the slope. There are different landforms, various landforms on the surface of the earth. Now, all landforms, they do not have the same slope. They show varying degrees of slopes. For example, a flat plane exhibits gentler slopes, and the cliffs and gorges are associated with the steep slopes. Similarly, valleys and mountain ranges are also characterized by the varying degree of slopes. The slopes, there are different kinds like steep slope, gentle slope, concave slope, irregular slope, and so many. So, if you find what is steep slope, when two contour lines, they are drawn very close to each other, or they are closer together, then that is steep slope. So many mountains, if they have steep slopes, it becomes very difficult to climb them. But if any mountain has the gentle slope, it's very easy to climb that mountain. So when you will find the gentle slope, when the contour lines, they are farther apart or they are far from each other, then that is gentle slope. You will find more clarity in this picture. See, this is the gentle slope. This is the picture which depicts the gentle slope of the landform or mountain, and this is the picture which depicts the steep slope of the mountain. As I told you, when the contour lines, when they are drawn or they are very close to each other, it indicates the steep slope. And here the contour lines, there is a big gap between two contour lines, it indicates the gentler slope or gentle slope. The next type of slope, that is concave slope and convex slopes. Now if you see in the slide, the upper part is steeper than the lower part. The concave slope is represented by the closely spaced contour in the upper locations and gradually become widely spaced in the lower areas. But convex slope, that is totally vice versa. The upper part, if you see the upper part, that is less steep than the lower part. So here we can say that the contours are widely spaced in the upper parts and are closely spaced in the lower parts in the convex slope. So now let's understand about the different landforms such as hill, plateau, valleys, types of valleys, saddle, mountain gap, mountain pass, how they are depicted on the topo sheet. So let's start with the conical hill. Now it rises almost uniformly from the surrounding land. A conical hill, if you draw the hill over here, this is the conical hill with uniform slope, and narrow top is represented by concentric contours spaced almost at regular intervals. If you find the slope is uniform slope, it is a slope or a part of slope which has no change in angle. On a map, the contour lines will be spaced evenly. If you can see over here, if they are evenly spaced close together, then the slope is called uniform slope. uniformly steep, and they are constant. That is the reason it is said regular intervals. If you find the regular intervals are there, contour intervals are there. So this is about the conical hill. Now the next landform, that is plateau. Plateau means what? A widely stretched flat top highland with relatively steeper slopes rising above the adjoining plain or sea, that is called as a plateau. Now see, this is the plateau which is depicted with the help of the contour lines on the topo sheet. If we draw this, if we see that how is the plateau, this is the side of the plateau. Either it can be gentle or sometimes steep, and this is the portion it goes in this way. So this is called plateau, and that is the reason it is said that the contour lines representing a plateau, they are normally close spaced at the margin, with the innermost contour showing wide gap between its two sides. Here you can see the wide gap between its two sides. So this is the plateau. Now let's understand about the V-shaped valley. V-shaped valley, they are generally found in the upper course of a river. If you see here, at both sides, the mountain walls are there, and in between sometimes the river flows. So V-shaped valley are found in the upper course of a river where the slopes on either side of the river are steep. A V-shaped valley is easily identified on a contour map with the contour lines close to each other and a very dominant V they formed. If you find the contour value that increases with the uniform intervals, the distance between the two contours, that is uniform interval for all other contour which are outward, right? So this is about the V-shaped valley on the topo sheet. Let's know about the U-shaped valley on the topo sheet. If you see that the contour value that increases with uniform intervals outward. Now the lowermost part of the U-shaped valley is shown by the innermost contour line with a wide. If you see here, this is the wide portion of the valley. Now, this U-shaped valley, they are found in regions where the action of the ice or glaciers has widened the valleys, so that the valleys take the shape of U. There are also found in the lower regions of a river where the erosion of valley walls by the river widens the valley to make them look U-shaped. Right? So the contour lines of these valleys you can see here. Here it is distinct U shape. It is bent. It is bent. So this is about the U-shaped valley on the topo sheet. Now let's know about the cliff on the topo sheet. It is a very steep or almost perpendicular face of landform. Right? If you see here in the picture, a cliff is a vertical or near vertical land feature. The landform rises vertically from the lower ground. On a contour map, the contour lines are very close together and merge into a single line. If you see over here, merge into a single line. In other words, contour lines, they are overlapped on each other, overlapping. And this type of landform actually indicates the cliff. So this is about the cliff. Now let's know about the waterfall and rapids. Now what is waterfall? A waterfall is formed when there is a sudden drop in the river valley. It is like a cliff only. When the drop is almost perpendicular, if you find almost perpendicular, waterfalls actually are formed in the upper regions of the river valley. If you find over here upper regions of the river valleys. When contours, when contours on the map are very close to each other, as they cross a river or stream, we find that touching to each other, right? So it indicates the presence of a waterfall. So this is very important feature of the waterfall, that when they form at what point, or they start where the contour lines are touching to each other, and it indicates the relief of waterfall on the topo sheet. The next landform, that is ridge. So a ridge is a long and narrow elevation that has steep slopes on either side and stands out from the surrounding lowlands. It also acts as a watershed to rivers that flow down narrow valleys on both of its sides. Now, what is called a watershed? A watershed is an area of land that feeds all the water running under it and draining off it into a body of water. It also combines with other watersheds to form a network of rivers and streams that progressively drain into larger water areas. So now here you can see that a ridge could also have several peaks of various elevation. Several peaks of various elevation. The contours of a ridge are oval. They are oval with contours close to each other, indicating the steepness of the landform. So here it was about the ridge. Let's know about the saddle. Saddle is a shallow depression. If you see, saddle is a shallow depression at a high elevation. Okay, this is depression, right? And high elevation between two peaks. This is one peak and this is the another peak. So as I said that a saddle is a shallow depression at high elevation between two peaks or ridges. The depression, this is the depression. The depression is formed by the streams or by glaciers flowing close to each other. A saddle need not have a river or stream flowing through it. So this was about the saddle landform on the topo sheet. Coal. A coal is formed when the land has been cut considerably between two streams. You can see on the slide the land which has been cut considerably between two streams in a watershed. A coal can be identified by a drop in the height. Suddenly it becomes low. The height elevation becomes low of the contour lines, which is clearly seen in the slide. So this was about the coal. Pass, that is nothing but the gap between two peaks of the mountains. So mountain passes, they are low valleys or openings lying between two peaks. Here in the slide you can see, and they are in a range of the hills. A mountain pass is also indicated by a drop in height of contours. So I hope you have understood about the mountain pass on the topo sheet. Gap, that is a low-lying depression or a valley which cuts through a range of hills. It is often occupied by a river. That portion where it is cut, that is always occupied by the stream or the river. So it was about the gap on the topo sheet. Students, I hope you have understood the interpretation of different kinds of landforms on the topo sheets. Certainly, it requires a regular study to be thorough with it. So thank you for this session.